Hey beauties, welcome to Beauty Defines Podcast. On today's podcast, I'm going to discuss game, logic, and how it relates to femininity. This is extremely important in your feminine and leveling up journey. Thinking logically and critically can be very challenging. Oftentimes, we are raised to see the best in people, especially as women. We're raised to be emotional and think with our emotions, although a part of me do believe that we were created that way as well, and it's really to balance it out. But when you're older, you realize that society tends to complain that women are too emotional, but they had no issue with us being groomed that way. It's all a game, beauties. And since women come from God and man, meaning we were created from Adam's rib as well as the breath of God, we are the most intelligent when we're critical. We can do anything as long as we train our minds. When you increase your feminine energy, people are going to think you're soft, vulnerable, and you may find more perpetrators in some cases and predators. But let me be very blunt and candid, beauties. Don't be afraid to see the worst in people and the best in people. Be realistic, and you will find yourself winning at the game called life. You can be a good woman and peep game. It's a matter of balancing your perspective. You don't have to be a pessimist, but you also don't have to be gullible and naive. Be honest with yourself about your own personal progress. Also, be honest about your relationships. If you're dating or married to a man that doesn't love you, be honest. If you're getting the shorter end of the stick in your friendship, be honest. If you're getting paid less at your job because you're a woman, be honest. If your mother is toxic, be honest. Look at people for who they are, not for who you wish them to be, not for who they have the potential of becoming. Always think to yourself, if this person never changes, will I be content with that? Believe me, beauties, most of the things that you forgive or condone from others, they would never forgive you if you did the same thing. More often than not, people are not going to treat you the way that they would want to be treated. There are women that marry men because of potential, for example. Men don't often marry women for potential. They want to see who are you today and who were you before I met you. You either make the cut or you don't. Beauties hold people to the same standards that they hold you. Because if you marry potential and that person does not change, you only played yourself. Remember this, beauties. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I put the blame on me. A lot of women are in toxic situations because they were not honest with themselves and they invest too much by using their emotions. They invest too much in potential. Don't put all your eggs in one basket due to potential. Use your logic. When you are honest with yourself, beauties, you can move on to the next step on how do I get what I want and need out of this situation. You see, beauties, every experience in life exists to teach us a lesson. Never walk away from a good, bad, or ugly experience without adding a new tool to your tool belt. Ask yourself, what did I learn? Was I a victim to this? Did I make a mistake? Or did I make a bad decision? Write it out, heal, sit on the sidelines for a while to observe and learn from your pain, mistakes, or bad decisions, and get back in the game. Forgive yourself, but always be unapologetic about playing the same game. Men do it every day. So you will either walk away from the situation or play the game until you find the next best thing. Remember this, always do what's best for you. The person that loves the hardest in any relationship gets played the most. Ask yourself, how many L's am I taking in this situation? L's mean losses, by the way. Create a pro and con list. Update that list once a month to see what you're getting out of this particular situation. Emotions are oftentimes an illusion, and you must track your emotions. Believe me, I once read a quote that said, "The heart is fickle." You see, beauties, this is why people are able to fall out of love, whereas other people can love for a lifetime. Some people are disloyal and others are loyal because emotions are fickle. Some people get upset and commit crimes due to their anger, whereas other people can control their temper and not commit such crime. Emotions can lead to deadly and reckless decisions, beauties. Always think through your major decisions. It's okay to take your time. Don't be pressed. When you are pressed, meaning feeling pressured, you will make decisions that will cause you to settle for less. For example, one of my supporters told me she wanted to quit her job. I told her to track her feelings once a month for an entire year. I told her to not just quit. We all have good and bad days in our relationships. And every month she felt like quitting. At the end of the year, she looked at her journal and realized for an entire year she felt like quitting. This means I'm not just being emotional, I'm being intuitive and logical. It's time for me to leave. She eventually quit her job, and when she found another job, she's now in a career that she enjoys. Don't make rash decisions off emotions. Of course, there will be times where you make quick decisions. However, if you have time, take your time as long as you're not in danger. You matter, and your mental health is important. Always think strategically when you are making big decisions. Big decisions such as making a big purchase, marriage, having children, career changes, etc. You know what a big decision is in your personal life. Don't always think with your emotions. And when people show you who they are, believe them the first time around. Listen and watch carefully. People will tell you who they are if you listen long enough. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to tell a man, "Oh, I peep game and see your intentions." Either play the same game on him or give him nothing while you're watching the game being played. Don't tell your friend, "Oh, I see what you are up to. Run game on her as well." Just smile. While you are reading and studying people, you have to be observant. Whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, always keep your eyes open, beauties. Beauties, if you struggle with being logical, it's okay to pray for discernment. Listen, Solomon was the wisest and smartest man in the Bible. I bet he peeped a lot of game. You cannot allow people to finesse you in this game called life. You think people care when you cry and your feelings are hurt? They care because you found out about their disloyal act, not because they care of the fact that they committed the act. Being a wise and positive woman is not mutually exclusive. You can access the same God that provided Solomon with wisdom. God can give you so much discernment, you can sense a fake person when you see one and when you walk into a room. Beauties, God can give you more than what you're asking for. Are you prepared for the truth? If you ask God for discernment and wisdom, be prepared to be blown away. You will begin to see people differently. Only God understands the heart of man. We can only see the acts of man. But God loves you so much that he will give you a peek into a person's intentions for you. Remember, most relationships are transactional, and people in this world are trying to see what they can get from you with little effort. I get a lot from her while doing the minimum. People get played in their marriages, their relationships, their family, their work, etc. Learning to think with your logic in certain environments will put you ahead of the game. Another way to increase your logic while being feminine is to pick and choose your battles. If you always think with your emotions, you will fight every battle that you create or battles that are presented to you. For example, if your colleague is a jerk and says something rude or offensive, ask yourself, how should I respond to this? Can I get nice nasty? Which is always an option. Don't be afraid to take the alternative route and say, I'm not going to respond the first time. I'm going to give her a second strike. That's a strategy move, beauties. Sometimes a colleague is doing this for you to react emotionally and make you look bad at work. Now you look like the aggressive one and can potentially lose your job. It's a game, beauties. Are you ready to play the game? When you get home, think it through. How will I respond when she is a jerk again? And respond accordingly. At some point, I will share a podcast on how to deal with difficult employers and colleagues. Just know how to pick and choose your battles wisely, beauties, because you must save your energy for the greater battles that lie ahead. If you have a goal to run for president someday, are you going to fight all your battles when you're a college student? Think about the amount of nonsense and battles Michelle Obama experienced from college and her law school years. Imagine the negative comments and microaggressions when she became an attorney. If she fought every single battle, you think she would have made it as the first black first lady? If Michelle would have fought every battle, it could have cut off Barack Obama's future as the first black president as well. Beauties, always think before you act. Your actions can harm you and your loved ones and cut your destiny short. There are people in this world that intend to cut your future short. They want you to react emotionally to everything. Some situations are not worth your energy because your calling and vision is so much greater. Your future is so great. Do not allow others to cut it off at the beginning stages. Beauties, use your logic and emotions wisely. Always think 10 steps ahead and play the game or get played. Beauties, I hope you learn more about how to be feminine while using your logic to play the game. I love interacting with my audience. Please email me at beautydefined139@gmail.com, or you can feel free to leave me a voice message on how you feel about my podcast if you have any questions on self development or suggested topics. As always, you are fearfully and wonderfully made.